Okay, test review. Solve the system of equations by graphing. So you need to find the point where these two lines cross. We have two equations. Y equals negative x plus 3 and y equals x plus 1. So we look at these equations, okay, and we see that the y is by itself in the first one. Let's graph the first one, okay? So if the y is by itself, we have our m and we have our b right there. So I'm going to go down here, I'm going to put slope, y-intercept. So my slope is negative 1 over 1, and then positive 3 is my y-intercept. So on my y-axis, I'm at 1, 2, 3. Then from that, I move down 1, forward 1. Okay, you take your ruler and make a straight line. Okay, now in the second equation, the y is by itself again. So I have my m and my b, put a 1 as the x coefficient. So slope 1 over 1, and the y-intercept positive 1. Okay, so I go to positive 1 on the y right there, and then from there I go up 1, forward 1. Now there's already a point there, so circle it. Okay, and then that's the point where those lines are going to cross. Okay, so we have to tell what that point is. You're not done until you tell what the point is. So they cross here. So on the x-axis, 0, 1, 1. And then the y-axis here at 0, and then 1 and 2. So 1, 2 is the solution. Okay, number 2. The first equation, we have 2x minus y equals negative 5. Well, clearly the y is not by itself here, so we are unable to identify the m and b. Okay, so I'm going to go to my scratch paper, I'm going to put number 2, and I'm going to write that equation down. So I make kind of the line, the wall. And y would be multiplied by 1 and it would be multiplied by negative 1, so put the multiplication operation and circle it. Now that's negative, so switch the signs. Negative, positive. There's no symbol, it's just an equals to sign, so that's good, and positive. Now you take out your negative 2x with positive 2x plus 2x and make a 0x, so you have a place to add 2x. So you have 1 times y, and then you're going to have 2x, and then plus 5. Now you divide everything by your 1. Then the y is by itself. So y equals 2 divided by 1 is 2, 2x, and 5 divided by 1 is 5. So now we have gotten the equation, so it's in, so I know the m and the b. Y equals mx plus b. So the slope would be 2 over 1, and then positive 5 would be my y-intercept. And up 2, forward 1. Take your ruler and graph the line. Okay, now in the second equation, the y is not by itself there either, so I go negative 2x minus y equals negative 1. So the y, its multiplication operation would be by negative 1. So again, you want to make that sure that goes to a positive, so positive, positive, positive. Okay, so I take out the positive 2x with a minus 2x, and then I make a 0x, and I minus 2x. So I have 1 times y, x, 0 minus 2 is negative 2, and then plus the 1. Then I divide by 1. Negative 2 divided by 1 is negative 2, okay, plus 1. Now you have your m and your b. So slope, y-intercept. So the slope is negative 2 over 1, and positive 1 is the y-intercept. So then down to forward 1. Okay, and the lines cross. You just need to mark where they cross and tell what that point is. This is the answer, okay? So 0 and then 1, so 1. Then on the y, 0, 1, 2, 3, so 3, 1, 3. Okay, third one. Y equals 2x minus 1. Well, this is easy because the y is by itself, so I do not need my scratch paper. Slope, y-intercept. So the slope is 2 over 1. And my y-intercept is going to be minus 1, negative 1. So on the y-axis, negative 1 is here. Then from there I go up to forward 1. Now in the second equation, the y is not by itself, so we cannot do the MB label. So I'm going to put problem number 3, and I'm going to write that second equation. Now the y has a multiplier of positive 3. Now it's positive, so the sign doesn't change. Now is there anything out? Is there a term outside the 3 times y? No, there's not. Okay, so you can go straight to dividing by 3. So 6 divided by 3 is 2x, and then negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. Now you have your m and your b. So the slope is 2 over 1, and minus 1 is the y-intercept. Okay. Funny thing happens here. You go to minus 1, there's already a point there. And if you go up 2 over 1, there's already a point there. So really it's just the same line. So this is called IMS if it's the same line. Okay. Infinitely many solutions. Okay, now we solve by substitution, so now you're finding it without graphing, okay? So, x, y. Okay, circle your letters, and you have a letter by itself. Now that could be x or y, that's known as your base, and then on the other side, that expression, that's called the replace. So you write the other equation where you don't have it, 2x plus 2y equals 38. Okay. Now, you're going to parenthesize your base letter, the y, and you're going to take that out and replace it with the expression x plus 3. Put a 1 in front of the x, trust me. So you got 2x plus 2, then you open your parentheses and you put the expression 1x plus 3 equals 38. Okay, now you have to distribute first. You take this positive 2 and distribute it. So 1x and 3. So you drop the plus. So 2 times 1x is 2x, and 2 times 3 is 6. So that's gone, but you have to add the other 2x. Okay, so your x's are on the same side, so you make your v and add them. So it's going to be 4x plus 6 equals 38. So now your x has a times 4 and a plus 6. So you take out your plus 6 with a minus 6. That's 32. Then you take out your times 4 with a divide by 4. Now 32 divided by 4 is 8. X equals 8. Now to find the y, it's really easy. You can just go into the circle that says replace and put 8. So y is going to equal 8 plus 3, which is 11. Okay, number 5, y equals 3 plus 2x, and then we have 3x minus 2y equals 5. So again, we're finding the crossing point, and we have a letter by itself, the y. So that's going to serve as our base. Remember, x can be the base too, and 3 plus 2x is the replace. Okay. Now write your other equation. 3x minus 2y equals 5. Now, if you have a minus, you might want to make that plus negative, okay? So the y is a base, and I replace that with 3 plus 2x. So I have 3x plus negative 2, and then inside we now have 3 plus 2x equals 5. So we distribute the negative 2. That's why I made that plus negative, so I know that I'm distributing a negative. So plus negative 2 times 3 is just negative 6, and then negative 2 times 2x is 4x. Okay. Then we have the 3x that we need to add. So now I add the x's. Okay. 3x plus 4x is 7x plus the negative 6 equals 5. So I have times 7 plus negative 6. So you add 6. So 7 times x. 5 plus 6 is 11. And then we divide each side by 7. So I take 11 divided by 7. Well, that doesn't look very good. So when I get that on the screen, I click the second key with my finger. And then I click this PRB key. Okay, and then it makes that into an exact fraction, 1 4/7. So there's your x. Now to find the y, okay, you go into the replace, you put a times sign. You didn't have to put the times sign here, but 1 4/7. And then y equals 3 plus 2 times 1 4/7. I got 6 1/7. Okay, now number 6, solved by elimination. We have 6x plus 5y equals 39, and then we have 3x plus 5y equals 27. So I don't have a base. You don't have a letter by itself, so if you don't have a base, you draw these columns, okay? Put addition signs. Now, 6 plus 3 is 9. 5 plus 5 is 10. Remember, you're trying to get either the x or the y column to add to 0, so neither one of them add to 0. But you see, we have a match right here with the 5y's. So if I make this bottom 5y into a negative, okay, then they will add to 0. Remember, two things add to 0 if they're the same, and one's positive, one negative. But if you make that negative, then you have to make your 3x opposite and go from positive to negative, and your 27 opposite and go from positive to negative. Okay. Then 5 plus negative 5 is 0y. Okay. 6 plus negative 3 is 3x, and then equals 39 plus negative 27 is 12. Now the 0 with the 0y crosses out, okay? Now 3 and x is times, so you get rid of the times 3 with the divide by 3. That plus doesn't really matter. And then x, that's the letter. 12 divided by 3 is 4, so we got 4 for x. Now to find y, use your very first equation. 6x plus 5y equals 39. Okay, so x is 4, so you put a times dot there. And you need to find what 6 times 4 is. It's 24. So it's 24. Don't put 24x. X is gone. You have 24 plus 5y equals 39. Now, on the y, you got a plus and a times. So you take out your 24. You don't put x on the 24. You take that out by minusing it, and then you can minus it from 39. So 5 times y equals 15, then divide by 5, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. Okay, number 7. 5x minus 9y equals negative 43. 3x plus 8y equals 68. Okay, so you don't have a letter by itself. Make your columns. Make that plus negative 9y. And over here, so try to add them. So that's 8, and that's negative 1. And you don't have a match like you did here. Okay, so you need to do your times, 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 your multiplication step. So 3, you come up top, 3, 3, 3, 5, 5, 5, 5. So 3 times 5x is 15x, so you're rewriting it. And then 3 times negative 9y is negative 27y. And then 3 times negative 43 is going to give me negative 129. On the bottom, you're going to get 15x. 8 times 5 is 40y. And then 68 times 5 is going to be 340. Now, the reason why you did that, 15 plus 15 is 30. Negative 27 plus 40 is 13. So no 0, but now you have your match. Okay, so if you made that into a negative, you would add it to 0, but then you got to make your 40y into it from positive to negative, and the 340 from positive to negative. So now that's going to be 0x. And then I take negative 27 plus negative 40. That's negative 67y. Then you take negative 129 plus negative 340, and that's going to be negative 469. So 0x takes out the x. And then between 67 and y, that's multiplication. So you're going to divide by negative 67. And then I take negative 469 divided by negative 67, and that's going to be 7. So y is 7 now. You're going to write your first equation, 5x plus negative 9y equals negative 43. So we have our answer for y, 7. So I put a times dot. I get rid of the y and replace it with 7. So negative 9 times 7 is negative 63. So we have 5x plus negative 63, not y. It's just negative 63 constant. Then times and plus negative. So you add the 63 to both sides. And then negative 43 plus 63 is 20. Okay, so x equals 4. 4, 7. Okay, now you need to graph the inequality. Now with these symbols, that's when you have to do the test, okay? So your y is by itself, so it's going to be easy. There's going to be a test down here, okay? You run a test when you have the symbol, and you have the m, and you have your b. So the line's going to be easy to graph. So slope negative 2 over 1, positive 3 is the y-intercept. 1, 2, 3, and then from there I go down 2, forward 1. Okay, now that symbol does not have an equals to line, so it's going to be a dashed line. So with you running your ruler, just remember to make it dashed. If you forget, I'm not going to freak out about it. Okay, then run your test. Well, to run your test, first you need to copy that down. Y greater than negative 2x plus 3. Okay, so I'll pick any point. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1. Okay. So 4, 1. So I take out the y and put 1. Then I put a times dot there, and I take out the x and I put 4. So on this side you have just 1. On the other side you need to find what negative 2 times 4 plus 3 is. That's going to be negative 5. Well, 1's bigger and it eats a bigger number, so that's true. So that this point is true, so is any other point on this side of the line. The other side is false. So you highlight the side that's true. Don't cross over the line with your highlighting. Okay, number 9, negative 3x minus 2y is less than or equal to negative 6. Now, you're going to have to run a test after you get the line down. But we can't make the line with the MB yet because the y is not by itself. So I go to my scratch paper, I write number 9 so your teacher can see what that is. Negative 3x minus 2y, and then the less than or equal to negative 6. So y is multiplied by 2, and it's by a negative 2, so you don't want that to be negative. You go positive, positive, and when you have this symbol, you have to switch that. Positive 6. Now you take away the 3x, you make a 0x, and take away the 3x there. So you line up your symbol, you have 2 times y. For x, you got negative 3, and then the positive 6. Now divide everything by 2. You're dividing by a positive now, so the sign will not switch again. Negative 3 divided by 2 is a decimal, so no decimals. So I want to keep it the fraction negative 3 over 2x, and then 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now you got your m, you got your b. You can use the slope y-intercept to graph it. Okay. So the y-intercept's positive 3. 1, 2, 3. Or excuse me, negative 3 over 2, positive 3. So 3. Then down 3 over 2. Down 3 forward 2. Okay, now the line's there, so it's going to be solid. Okay. Now when you run your test, do not go with this. When you run your test, you go with this, the MB one. So y greater than or equal negative 3 over 2x plus 3. Okay. So find a point. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 up 2. Okay, so 2 replaces y. 4 replaces the x. So we have 2. Then I take negative 3 ABC2 times 4 plus 3, and that's going to be negative 3. Well, 2 is a bigger number, and it eats that, so it's true once again. So this would be true, and this would be false. Okay, then the last one, nobody likes this one, but we're going to have it on the test. Find the region that represents the solution to the linear system inequality. So the lines are graphed for you. It's a linear system. You got to find the region that you're going to shade. A, B, C, or D. Okay, so the y. So you're just going to make a table. You're going to put A, make a table, and you're going to put this on one side and this on the other side. Okay, go inside A, pick a point somewhere. Okay, so A, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then up 2. So I put 2 in for y, I put 5 in for x. Okay. Remember, both these sides have to be yes for me to call that the answer. 3 times 5 minus 2 is 13. So right away, that's a false, okay? So it's not A, okay? So don't even do the other side. If you get a false on the first side, don't even do it, okay? B, same thing. Okay, so now B. Find a point. Here's B right here. Okay. So the B coordinate, I'll just put something inside of there. Okay, inside the B. Now your x, you're at -1, -2, so x is -2, and you're down 1, so -1. Okay, so -2, -1. See, -1, -2, and then 0, and then -1. Okay, so take your y out and replace it with -1. Take your x out, replace it with -2. So you take 3 times -2 minus 2 is -8. Now if I have two negatives, the one that's the smaller is the bigger one, and it eats that, so yeah, that's true. So now we go to the other side. Okay, x, -2. So you take 1/2, 1ABC2 times -2 plus 3 is 2. Okay, looks like it's eating the bigger one, so that's true. So I got them both to be true, so I stop. I don't make a table for C. I know that B is the answer, okay? So you circle that and you shade inside. Do not cross the lines. It's like a little angle that you're shading.